take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of the internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by whom again? We the people. You did, now controlled by the billionaires. But guess what? We are going to, whatever it takes, take what's ours back. You know, same with AI, same with all these different things that these guys are capitalizing on. We are going to take it back. Anyway, without further ado, let's go back to the studio with El Señor Jacques Van Beber and Mayana. Good morning, folks. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning. We're doing really good now that you're here.
Hey.
Good morning.
How you doing, Jack? What's happening?
Not much. We're training Mayana today.
Hey, wait. You just saved me. You just saved me. I'm not the only one who make those kinds of mistakes. So I think we're both forgiven, right, Mayana?
Absolutely. But Mayana is better than Miana.
Oh, okay. Well, we got it. We got it now.
Okay, I'm just going to do Oligarch's Pledge today.
Oh no, we love that.
Okay, all right. Oh no, we love it. Okay, doesn't sound too well. All right. This is what I see our country has become. I pledge allegiance to the corporations of the United Empire of America and to the economy for which it enslaves all peoples, demonizes and devalues them, passes the profit to the elite 1% with punishment and tyranny for the poor. Slackers.
Slackers. So anyhow, let me see, before we even get started with anything, is our interim manager in yet to do a little begin pitch? Because we have a lot to cover today, and I want to, kind of get us on the right track for people to start calling in early.
I'm right here, Egberto. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm okay. Good morning to everybody listening. Hey, we begin day number 9 of our May-June fund drive. Over the 50% mark, folks. We're at $88,375 from 535 distinct acts of kindness. Thank you so much to those of you that have pledged this morning at 1:31 a.m. according to our tracking software, which is mostly reliable, except on maybe Thursdays. Salvador donated, and want to thank him for doing that out of Spring. From Clute, Jose A. donated this morning during Arnie Arneson's program, as did Jeff H. So we've already had 3 donations this morning. That's a little bit unusual to see that in the morning, but we are all grateful. If you don't know what we're talking about, KPFT is commercial free, and we gather the funds during our fund drives to pay the bills and continue our 55-year plus existence. So we're in a fund drive now, and we kindly ask, if you get the opportunity, to call 713-526-5738, option 1, or mouse it over to kpft.org and click donate. On our website, you will find a whole passel of goodies, thank you gifts, t-shirts, mugs, thermos bottle, concert tickets, special events such as Dead on the Lake, or Tom Hartman will be visiting August 9th here in Houston. He'll be at the Emerson Unitarian Church. It's a KPFT benefit. It's a $60 pledge, $5 a month. Now, if you break it up monthly and become a sustainer, your pledge will be matched with a $50 bill. So your $5 a month pledge, $60 a year becomes $110. Egberto needs roughly 5 of those to make his goal this morning. So folks, $5 a month on a Thursday morning on a sustainer basis. What you say? 713-526-5738, option one, or kpft.org. Egberto. Again, good morning.
Good morning, Sandy. Thank you so kindly. Before we get started, yesterday I think most of you gave me a panic attack because as we were leaving, we were at that magical donut hole zero. But I knew to have that hope in our folks. I knew that you guys were going to come through, and guess what? You did. So I want to give a quick call out to Stacy W, who gave us a great contribution yesterday. I also want to say a new person for KPFT, Joanna S. Thank you so kindly for that contribution as well. Elidoro Herrera, thank you so kindly as well. And Josephine S, thank you so kindly as well. So, I mean, it all came at once as soon as we got off the air. That apparently you guys were doing it just as we got off the air. So I want to give you guys a humongous thank you to ensuring that we weren't at that magical donut. So I'm asking you again to could you not keep me up in suspense and please do it early if you can. We have a lot to talk about today. So I mean you can start doing it like right now, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. As Sandy pointed out, we're trying to build sustainers so we can do less of these asks. So if you'll call 713-526-5738, extension number 1, consider a $5 pledge. That will give you the a Tom Hartman ticket. A $10 pledge, you could get 2 Tom Hartman tickets. And we also would love to tell you, you can go to kpft.org, kpft.org, and select whatever gift you want. And please remember, whether you're calling or on the website, select Politics Done Right so that we know what program it is that brought you here. Politics Done Right from the drag down menu, or tell them on the phone. All right. And Joanna is in the chat. She says that was me. Thank you so kindly, Joanna from Los Angeles, California. I think it's actually Santa Monica, right? But I could be wrong. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita, and Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. In the Substack, of course, I started that up late, but Letitia V, crazy old man. I love that. And Arlene Fucillo, or I have a way of destroying names. If you doubt that, ask Mayana if I destroy names or not. But I try to atone myself at some point in time. Anyway, before I get started with it, first of all, the title of the program today is Democrats Beware of the Neoliberal Abundance Trap. Second topic, the truth about Medicaid work requirement. Democratic voters choose corporate power fight over abundance scam. And Republicans Medicaid work requirement lies dispelled. PDR will not allow, politics done right, will not allow right-wing trolls a platform to lie. Why? I want to start there because yesterday we had a caller who castigated me because I, got rid of one specific call and he said that I didn't allow that person to speak. Look, one of the things I try to pride myself in is hearing all sides of a debate, etc. But that has to be done with some sort of a measure. And progressives on my other program would accuse me of giving too much latitude to right wingers and right wing trolls. In other words, folks that have no intention of having a dialogue, just to put out, a lie that they spew or something to create hate or one of those things. And uh, a lot of in fact, I lost quite a few of my folks at 3 o'clock because they were simply upset that we give, and sometimes they say more latitude to folks that are not really interested in having a real dialogue but just to make a lying point. And I went back and listened to a couple of my 3 o'clock programs, and they're right. Sometimes we attempted to bend over too far, even though these guys, what they were doing was polluting the airwaves with lies that it's hard to believe that they didn't know what they're saying made no sense. I'll give one example, and this is very important. And I'm asking you to listen to this because it will determine how I handle the lies. And the lies can come from all directions, right? But in our current state, the vast majority of lies are coming from the right. Now, we had a chatter yesterday. We were talking about, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I don't remember if it was renewable energies or whatever. And they came in with a trope that says, well, look, renewable energy is unstable. There is a 4,000 acre solar farm that was destroyed by hail in Texas. Before I even talk about renewable energies, must we forget what happened during the 500-year or maybe 100-year snow freeze that we had here in Texas? It brought the entire grid in Texas to almost collapse. And this was fossil fuels. This was gas turbines going down because they were poorly insulated. This was horrendous. This was fossil fuel. This wasn't renewable energy. In fact, if you look at the numbers, wind power many times saved the grid's butt even during the pandemic. I mean, the truth of the matter, at this point in our electrical transition, we need it all. So this person put out on our chat for everybody to see. There was a 4,000 acre solar farm that went down. It is a myth. And what we did is we went ahead and did all the research to correct the myth. But he got time to spread that. And for those who didn't see our pushback, they go back in their ethos and hear that there was a 4,000 acre damage to the solar stuff. It was under 30% that was damaged by a 500-year hailstorm. And 30% of this one power station got damaged, less than 30%. And the other adjacent power stations, solar power stations, didn't get damaged because they had the newer technology to mitigate against hail, which again, as you build these things, you learn and you mitigate things as you learn. And they did that. But the caller yesterday, we had our honorable Judge Lina Hidalgo. We interviewed her yesterday, and as usual, the guys who are anti-women and anti-young, all this kind of stuff, came out in droves to attack her. Wasn't only this guy who called, but we had folks that simply have this disdain for women in power. So this person called and they took exception to me cutting off the person who was talking about Lina Hidalgo having over 10 people making $400,000 a year. I could have let him go on and talk about that, but it's a trope that I've heard before. It is a trope that's a complete lie. But what I did in the newsletter today is I gave all the explanation of where the trope began, what's the reality, how much people make, and the reality is there's one person that is making over 400,000. Everybody else is under that. Lena only makes $190,000 a year, and again, most of the administrators are making, to put it bluntly, below market value in cities of comparable size. And there are not many cities of comparable size to Houston because Houston is huge. So what I made sure of is that caller would not use your airwaves. These airwaves belong to all of us. And as a 501c3, we are tasked. We can't throw anything up on the airwave. We don't know how the hell Fox News and get away with it. We know they're cable news, they're not over the air, but there are stations that cover some of their stories over the air. And they get away with misinforming. A lot of the problems in the country today is caused by right wing misinformation. And when you have guys that call in here with this type of information that are simply lying, and I have to believe that many of them know that they're lying because if they're not lying, there's something wrong with the educational system which they went through. Because these things are not difficult to ascertain. It is not. But what it does is when we give it traction and when we allow them on air to say these things, not everybody is around to hear the rebuttal. Not everybody is around to go ahead and in detail and hear, well, we are able to refute point A, B, and C. So where I can prematurely stop the corruption, stop the corruption of the airwaves, stop the destruction of one's mind. As a host here, a responsible host, I will stop it. So for the callers who call into the show, assuming you're going to get your right wing misogyny, your right wing lie, and all these things over, save your breath, because as soon as I am sure what you're saying is nonsense and lying and distasteful to most, I will in fact make sure that it doesn't get on air as fast as possible. That is how we operate. Truth only. There are gray areas that's worth debating, but lies are not debatable, and it will not be allowed. So for the caller who lied himself here yesterday about Lina Hidalgo, for the caller who attempted to defend the lie by not doing their own research, every time you attempt that, it will not be allowed. Period. Period. Okay, now I just needed to say that because the impression that was left yesterday was like, oh, you don't allow other people to talk. Everybody who wants to have a true dialogue, I don't care of what ideology, left wing, right wing, I don't care. This is your station, this is your airwaves, and you can speak. But if you're coming here to lie and put out, ridiculous statements, that will not be allowed. Okay, let's go ahead and start talking about the Robert Reich. I love Robert Reich. I've interviewed him a couple of times. And Robert Reich wrote an article yesterday on his Substack titled The Truth About Medicaid Work Requirement. And I think it's important for all of our listeners to hear this because a lot of you are taking care of mom, taking care of dad, and instead of having them in a nursing home where there's a whole system there for them, instead of doing that, you are home. You're sacrificing your labor. You're sacrificing your future Social Security earnings many times to stay home with mom, to stay home with dad, to stay home with a sick wife, etc. When you hear Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson, go on to TV and lie about, and this is what I tell you about allowing lies to go out there. Speaker Johnson, and I put this out a few days ago, Speaker Johnson went and told America in their eyes on TV, we are not cutting Medicaid. We're just making sure that those that are not working, they are the ones that, they need to go out there and get a job. And then they could, if they don't make enough, then they can qualify for Medicaid. It's a lie. Most people, well, let me read his article here, or segments of his article. He said, One of my purposes in sending you this daily letter is to give you the truth about an important issue that Trump and his lapdogs in Congress are demagoguing so you can spread the truth. This is from Robert Reich. Right now, the Senate is taking up Trump's big, beautiful budget bill, really a big, bad, ugly bill that just emerged from the House. If enacted, it would be the largest redistribution of income in the nation's history, from the poor and working class to the rich and super rich. How? The tax cut mainly benefits the wealthy. A major source of funding is at least $715 billion of cuts in healthcare spending, mostly from Medicaid. And also there's $500 billion from Medicare because of the trip that comes in. We'll talk about that later. It also contains a poison pill that would remove federal courts to hold officials in contempt of court, fining or imprisoning them if they fail to follow court orders. In other words, the bill is also giving folks the right to break the law. The law is giving lawbreakers the right to break the law. And that is to protect Donald Trump, who is one of our biggest lawbreakers, right? As the courts push back against Trump, this is a critical power. The bill cuts Medicaid spending by requiring Medicaid recipients to work. Republicans are spreading lies about this work requirement. Here are the facts you need to know and share. 64% of adult Medicaid recipients already work. Many recipients work in jobs that don't typically offer health insurance and pay little, which makes Medicaid vital. These people aren't freeloaders mooching off the system as Republicans claim. They are barely scraping by. They are a victim of a failed healthcare system. They are victims of a failed economic system. Adults on Medicaid who aren't working have good reasons not to. 12% are primary caregivers, 10% have an illness or disability, 7% are attending school. Number three. So 93% of all Medicaid recipients are either already working or have a good reason not to. The entire work requirement would affect 7% at most. In reality, a work requirement would cause many more who are now eligible for Medicaid to lose their Medicaid coverage. The current estimate is at least 8.6 million people. The work requirement kicks eligible people off Medicaid because of its burdensome and confusing reporting requirements. It's not really meant to put people to work. It's a shady way of kicking people off of Medicaid to fund tax cuts, mainly for the wealthy. So, it's the same thing that they did when they talk about cutting the Pell Grants. They didn't want to say cut the Pell Grants, so they didn't say they are cutting the Pell Grants. This is how evil the bill is. What they said is, instead of having to hold 12 credit hours, you have to hold 15 credit hours. If you calculate how much time you would have to be in school, it means you couldn't work. If you're a working mom, a working dad, and trying to advance your degree, it says you can't. You are going to stay at the status you're at. Why? Because you can't take 15 hours and work and take care of your family. So you will remain a poor person because the methodology is not there for you to educate yourself. That is evil. When I tell you the bill is evil, and they call themselves Christians, they call themselves loving life, they call themselves working for the people. This is evil. And the worst part of evil is when you can cloak it, when you can put a facade on it that makes it look like what you're doing is honorable. It's not. When Arkansas enacted work requirements, there was no significant change in employment rates because, again, Medicaid recipients already have high rates of employment to begin with. If Republicans really want to put people to work, they'd make it easier to get Medicaid, not harder. A lot of people, they have to make the choice. If they go to work, they can't do certain things. Make it easier. Watch how many people go out there to work. After Ohio expanded Medicaid, enrollees had an easier time finding and holding a job. So it's not like we don't have the evidence to prove it. This is just there as a quick way to take your money and give it to rich people. Access to healthcare means people can manage chronic conditions, afford medication, and receive mental health treatment, all of which help people do what again? Keep jobs, hold on to jobs. Republicans are spouting lies about a work requirement for Medicaid because there's really trying to push eligible people off of it. They don't care about life. They don't care that their bill is going to murder many Americans. They don't care. They don't care. So, all of you out there who are protecting, who are getting all irate for these people that look at you as just a widget to give rich people money because those rich people are funding their campaigns, funding them. You are not hurting those of us who are trying to do the right thing. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your auntie. You guys better wake up. This is not, because again, most of the people that are going to be affected by these cuts, yeah, everybody will. But when we look at percentages, the people that will be affected the most are the people, MAGA folk in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, especially Texas, where already we don't accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care. At least Louisiana woke up, but they were so dirt poor that they had to take the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. Green energy jobs, where do you think they're mostly concentrated in? 85% or somewhere in that vicinity, if I recall the numbers. I could be wrong, but it's a vast majority. Green energy jobs are in where? Red states. As this new big beautiful bill cut them, where do you think those cuts are going to occur? Stop being hoodwinked. Stop letting ideology make you make the wrong decisions. Stop allowing ideology to freeze one's mind. I'm going to go to the phones. I want to welcome Uju. Welcome, Uju. John A. Uju, thank you for that contribution that you gave a couple of days ago. Cheryl Elkin said, good morning. A reminder that today and tomorrow our Visibility Brigade calls for national test drives, overpass the bridge standouts across the country with sample message. Your state facing fight fascism, a simple way to raise awareness. I'll be out there in New England. Cheryl Atkins, you go, girl, you go do that job. Thank you so kindly for being out there fighting the cause. Cheryl also says, I appreciate you, Egberto. You are a great job wrangling callers. I appreciate you walking the fine line of giving people a chance to speak, but demanding truth and respect. Thank you, my dear, beautiful lady. Kathleen Kill says, Robert Reich is great. His name is pronounced with a soft, not like the Third Reich. Oh, Reich? Oh, thank you. I tell you, I bastardized names, Catherine. Mayana can attest to that. Cheryl Elkin says they work only for their people and lie and obfuscate to dupe the people into thinking they are their people. They're a special circle in hell waiting for these lying, miserable people. And I agree, there must be a circle in hell for these folks altogether. Glenn Ryan says, thank you, Glenn, for being here. You're correct, Egberto. We should have single-payer healthcare. And who will deliver that for us? The Democrats? No, we are going to deliver it for us, Glenn. Let's get together and make sure and get it done. Joe, helping my best friend in middle school to get better than a D on a big test infuriated her family from Idaho, so much so they actually assaulted and almost murdered. Oh, that's terrible. Harry Demson says, Egberto, keep hanging on at right-wingers who call with lies and nonsense. So, yeah, we want to make sure that people hear the truth. Lady Bearcat from Austin, Texas is in the house as well. Let's go to Sandy to do some pitching. I'm at the big zero. Please don't give me that heart in my throat as you guys did to me yesterday. Come on in, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Big zero, eh? Yes.
Big
it's a goose
zero.
egg.
Goose egg. You have to rub it in, right, Sandy? You're rubbing it in, Sandy. You're rubbing
Beautiful zero. Yeah, beautiful zero. Hey, folks, seriously, we have a $500 goal on this program. It's important that each program make its goal. And this audience has been amazing. Thank you for all the contributions that have come into this point. We are on day number 9 of our drive. We got a ways to go, and you can help us get there. 713-526-5738 or kpft.org. Coming up just a week from tomorrow, June 6th, we're going to be at the Heights Theater celebrating our 55th birthday. Hard to imagine that it's already June, but we're getting there very quickly. Rodney Crowell will do an acoustic solo performance, kind of a rarity. He'll perform for, I think he said 75 minutes. And then following that, there'll be a little break, and Guy Forsyth and the 78 Special will come out. There's no drummer in that band, and in fact, it's a reflection of musics going back to the beginning of recorded musics. A lot of fun, a lot of energy that the band provides, and they'll both be performing at the Heights Theater. There are still general admission seats available. You can call 713-526-5738, option 1, or get the tickets through the Heights Theater box office. They too have a few left. Also, coming up on August 9th, Tom Hartman and Grant Peoples at the Emerson Unitarian Church. That's a $5 a month sustaining pledge. Come on, we need about 5 of those on this program. 5 of you attending that event, getting those tickets, $5 a month at a time on a sustaining pledge will put this program this morning and KPFT in a really good place. Of course, there are t-shirts. There's coffee with Egberto. There's all kinds of great thank yous, but the biggest thank you of all is keeping this 55-year-old plus independent community radio station going strong, passing it forward. We do need the truth on the airwaves. We do need unfettered media. By that I mean no commercials, nobody handing us a big bill to keep our lights on in the commercial space and then saying, oh yeah, here's the money, but you're going to talk about this car here that we got, right? We don't do that at KPFT. Our programming may have side effects in that you may be talking more to your friends and neighbors about what you're hearing. We're creating dialogue amongst people when this happens. This is such an important thing. KPFT is such a vital thing. Don't let the goose egg stand at goose egg. Let's get things going this morning with your call. Let's keep KPFT. Let's have free speech reigning over Houston. And let's keep it that way for days, months, and years to come. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. And look, I take advantage myself of the sustaining membership. I do the $10 a month. I do $10 a month for KPFT. Even as none of us volunteers who are doing these programs get paid. You are just having you listen to what we have to say and talk about is what we're talking about. So I ask kindly again, please give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Again, consider a sustainer if you can, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20, whatever you can. And one-time donations, love it as well. But we do need to get me off of this goose egg, which is at El Señor 000. But I know you're going to come through for me. I have faith in my peeps. Anyway, let's start. Wait. I want to give a salute to Margaret Ryan. Good morning from Washington State. Welcome to Politics Done Right. As well as, let me see if anybody through. Uju says, morning, keep on spreading the truth and have a great weekend. Thank you, Uju. Anyway, don't have anybody else to call out by state other than Gayla Kunis from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go to Jimmy, line number 3. Jimmy, line number 3. Hey,
Good morning, Egberto.
Jimmy, first of all,
Yeah,
before you start, I want to give you a big thank you for being a great supporter. I saw the contribution that you gave a few days ago. Thank you so kindly, my brother. Come on in. What you got to say?
to do it. I want to talk about President Trump is acting like a dictator And I'm going to mention some of the things he's doing. He's threatening the European Union with a 50% tariff on everything they send to the U.S. I think that's crazy. He's going after Harvard University, which is none of his business. He's telling them to bring in less foreign students. I mean, what's wrong with this guy, Trump? And he's threatening elite law centers, law firms with fines and penalties and so forth. And then he's, of course, cutting Medicaid. Those things are all bad. The only good thing I see from Trump is that he wants to stop the killing in Ukraine. He hopes that Putin will stop this war on Ukraine, and Putin's not paying any attention to him. But I do like the fact that Trump is trying to stop the killing. That's the only good thing I have to say about Trump. But otherwise, he acts like a dictator, which he's not.
Yeah,
And
Jimmy,
we need more Republicans to speak up against him.
I think Republicans are going to start doing just that. Believe it or not, I have quite a few Republican friends who are already speaking that way. These folks are, I mean, it is a hard come around because we've not had somebody as disastrous. We have not had anybody as disastrous as Donald Trump. And I think while they believed Donald Trump was going to come back and just take care of their economic needs, not even that he's doing. And you are so right about what, he doesn't have any business messing with Harvard, doesn't have any business attempting to create these tariffs. And I think he's going to be neutered pretty soon. The thing about it is, how will he react when neutered? We'll find out in a little bit. Anything else, Jimmy? I got a few more callers I got to go to. Oops, Jimmy is not on. Number three, I think we don't have it. There you go, Jimmy. Sorry about that. Jimmy, anything else before we move on?
Yeah, I don't like this new Texas law requiring all the schools to have the copies of the Ten Commandments in every classroom. That's wrong. That's promoting the Christian religion. That's against our Constitution. So that ought to be struck down, just like the same type of law in Louisiana was done. It's very unconstitutional.
I think the Supreme Court will see that and strike it down. Texas, this legislature was one of the most damaging. It also destroyed the jobs of 50,000 people. Well, if the governor signs a THC bill, 58,000 people are going to lose their jobs. There are going to be thousands of businesses that are legal that they make illegal, which will have to go out of business. So they pass vouchers. This has been a very, very terrible for the middle class, for business people. But we'll see what happens. Maybe people would eventually wake up and see what kind of folks we have. Thank you, Jimmy, for calling in, and thank you for your constant support of Politics Done Right on KPFT. You have a wonderful rest of your day, my brother. All right. Let's go to Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
I feel so much better when I hear Jimmy Dunn calling in and telling his side of the story. He's a good guy.
Jimmy is great. But let me tell you, Jimmy is over 90 years old. If you ever see that guy, I mean, he exercises, and he tells me all the time, when we go to HPJC meetings, he's like, you have to eat right, and I don't eat this, and I'm like, well, you know what? We got to listen to the man, Anyway, go ahead, Johnny.
Hey, you look pretty youthful, too, so
I try.
About? Anyway, so I love the fact that both you and Tom Hartman gave a percentage breakdown of who exactly all are receiving Medicaid assistance. And when you do the numbers, like Tom Hartman said and you said, it's like 7% or less of those on Medicaid are people who the Republicans think should not be on because they're single, able-bodied adult males. And if they was to go by that standard to take people off Medicaid, they wouldn't save anything. There'd be no real savings at all. Mm-hmm. So all they're doing is creating more disruption. But speaking of the Texas law, that new Texas law that the guy in the wheelchair signed into effect, I like what Bruce said. I like to make a request. I would like for you, since you occasionally post your listeners' comments in your other medium,
Mhm.
Media, I would like for you to post what Bruce said yesterday or the day before. That was hilarious. It was biting. It was sarcastic. It was putting Republicans in their place. I like the idea that that you. He said that I think he said if he was a school superintendent, that he would shrink the Ten Commandments to the size of a
I
pro
love
shop.
that. And you know what? I need to read the law to see if that can be done because I don't know if the law
Yeah.
has the dimensions of how big the thing needs to be. So I would like to see that, and then that would make national news if they fit it all. They use microfiche and put it on. Hey, I'm running out
Yeah.
of time, Johnny. And by the way, I'm running out of time, so I got to go. Let's talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Um,
Real quick. I like his other suggestions. Put those on there too.
I'll
That's what
look for
makes it
it.
great.
That was 2 days ago,
I
right?
love
I'm gonna look it up and cut it. I'm gonna look it up and cut it. Thank you, Johnny. All right,
hey,
folks. I'm at zero, folks. A big donut hole. Uh, I am asking you kindly give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to support the program, or go to kpft.org and give whatever you can. I'm going to pass it to Sandy, then I'll take Betty, Bruce, then Brian. Sandy?
Yeah, it's what Egberto said. We're still waiting on that first pledge, 713-526-5738, option 1 or kpft.org. For more than 55 years, KPFT has survived on listener donation. You're hearing us this morning. You're hearing this program this morning, and subsequently Amy Goodman, which will begin a little after 7 a.m. this morning. All because people all along the way of those 55 years responded to our call during fund drives and donated enough money to keep us going. Now, KPFT doesn't maintain a super high bank balance. We take in monies and from listeners, and we spend those on our $52,000 worth of monthly bills. And we go 3 times a year at this point, asking you for that money. We've reduced that from 4 to 3. And if we don't get that money, then we have to keep pitching to get it because there are no alternatives. So what I'm saying is our fund drive is going to go on until we do make our goal. We're again making good progress. Day number 9, well over the 50% mark, $3,000 over the 50% mark, but we got a lot more work to do. We're trying to stretch until October before coming back to you. No August fund drive as we've been doing for, a couple decades now. Enough of you have joined as sustainers to eliminate that drive. I am asking everybody to see the logic of what's going on here. When you call up and you say $5 a month on a sustaining basis, that $5 bill is amplified by all the other people doing the same thing. And lo and behold, at this juncture, we get just a little less than 50% of our monthly needs from folks that have signed up as sustainers. Now, the logic then says if everybody doubled their sustaining pledge or a similar number of people came on board providing the similar amount of money, the 250% halves add up to, well, in this case, almost 100%. Keep the math right. If that were the case, we'd probably be down to a couple fund drives a year of just a few days each. Wouldn't that be great to not interrupt programming, to keep these conversations whole and alive and vibrant as they are most mornings here on Politics Done Right and our other programs? Wouldn't it be great not to have to worry about, where the next dollar is coming from to keep KPFT on another day or two? Folks, this is the oasis in the media desert. There's nothing else like it. It's Thursday morning. No one's pledged. It's not that bad a day. Come on now. Join us. 713-526-5738 or kpft.org. Politics Done Right t-shirt, $100. Tom Hartman, $60. Dead on the Lake, that 3-hour party boat on September 6th, $150 for one ticket, $275 for two. That's $22.50 a month on a sustaining basis. And, pick your thank you gift, but make sure you pick KPFT. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. I want to salute Marge KJ. She said, "Isn't it Friday?" I hope it is, but
Thursday day.
the things just kind of ride the days right in. But anyhow, let's go ahead and bring Betty into the conversation. Betty, come on in. You are
Hello,
hot.
Alberta.
Good morning, beautiful. How you doing?
Okay. Yes, be the golden goose and give to 90.1 Alberto, please. I have to get this out, Alberto. You're a nice guy. Brian, Bart, Jeff, and the other guys, they don't know nice. They spend their days thinking about the next big lie. Woman hater, white supremacist, chauvinist, pig, and bigot. All four of them are outdated. They stink, and I have a clothespin on my nose. Bye-bye. Love y'all.
I love you, Betty. I try not to do the name calling, but I can't. Whatever the case may be. Let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning. Good
Good.
morning.
Hey, good
Good
morning,
morning.
John. Hey, Johnny called you out, Bruce. I hope you have something that I can also cut today as well and put them all together. Let me hear it.
Mine's not going to be smart ass today. Thank you, Johnny, by the way, for the compliment. People, hey, donate, please. I grew up in Houston. I'm an old fart, all right? And we had a hurricane in 1959, I believe, or 60, Hurricane Carla. And the next one didn't hit till in the 1980s, Alicia. I left the state, came back in 2010. The first year back, we had a record drought, summer 2011. Then we've had Harvey. We've had two freezes, one which was terrible. We've had Beryl. We've had tornadic winds that came through the neighborhood and took the tops off apartments in my neighborhood. Climate change is real. When you invest in a stock market, you don't put all your money in one stock, all right, because it could go down. Same thing with energy. We need as many sources as possible. So if one part of the grid goes down, you got the other part kicking in. I'm all for green energy. I'm going to get off and give you more time. Thank you.
Thank,
And thanks again, Johnny, for the compliment.
Thank you, Bruce. And you're absolutely right. All forms of energy. We have wind power, we have solar power, we have wave power, we have thermal energy. We have so many different forms of power that we can use. And then eventually what fossil fuel needs to be is our backup energy supply. And the backup for all these other things that are pretty much free to get from our environment. I want to give a big thank you for our first donor of the morning, Mickey S. Mickey S, thank you so kindly. We're still a few $100 away, folks, but you can do it. 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org and please select the gift you want. Let them know it's for Politics Done Right, whether you call or do it from the website so that it'll be accounted appropriately. Thank you so kindly, Mickey. You've made my day. I'm not at a big donut hole anymore. You're a wonderful person. Let's go to Brian. Come on in, brother Brian.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Good.
You didn't watch the president when he had his meeting with the president of South Africa, did you? But you
Yes,
called him a liar.
No,
Uh,
I did. Actually, I
no, you
did,
didn't.
sir. I did. Go ahead, continue.
Okay. Did you see the South African Congress members stand up in the chambers and say, kill the Boers, kill the whites? Is
No, I
that a
saw.
lie?
No, there was a congressperson that said that.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't a person. It was not
sir,
a person, was it?
I'm not.
Get
Again, what?
pissed off and say yeah. Go ahead, get pissed off,
Let
cut me off,
let
and
me
say yes. He's a lie, right?
look. Every day I tolerate what you have to say with your attitude, sir, and I'm going to do so for one reason. Here again, I would suggest really that you change your sources of information. I did all the research, and we have enough. First of all, there is no genocide occurring in South Africa. White farmers in South Africa would tell you they don't intend or ever intend to leave South Africa. And also, 70% of the land is owned by 7% of the people, white people. So all of this, I don't understand, Brian. somebody who purports to be intelligent, why do you allow yourself to be wrangled on crap like you do? South Africa is a vibrant country that America does a lot of
Get
business
pissed
with.
off and hang up on me, right? Just gonna get pissed off.
I am not done. I won't hang up on you.
Sounded pissed
I,
off.
be quiet. I won't hang up on you, and then I'll allow you to answer. Now, I'm telling our public, I understand our brother Brian has allowed the same right wing thing that I spoke to you guys about in the beginning of the program. He has allowed media, bad media, lying media, to infiltrate his head. I am trying to point out to Brian a fact that I want all of you to hear, because all of you are going to hear the South Africa crap. South Africa is a vibrant democracy with a constitution more powerful than ours. Moreover, most of the
What
land
did
is.
you just say?
Listen, I just said a fact. Okay, you can look it up if you want to, but don't waste our time just arguing something you do not know. All right, let's continue. Again, South Africa it has a new constitution, a vibrant constitution. Now, folks, you can go ahead and read it on your own. You don't have to listen to me. But it's a vibrant economy. It has a high crime rate because of the poverty created by the Boers and the folks who came into that land and colonized it. And when Mandela came, as opposed to creating death and destruction to the colonizers, he embraced the colonizers for peace. What you see infiltrated by and created by Donald Trump and his ilk, and infiltrating and cauterizing crap in the mind of our brother Brian here, is what we have to mitigate. Brian, you got 15 seconds to answer.
Oh, thanks for taking up my time. Nelson Mandela was a communist that was arrested for leaving the country and trying to.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much. Come on in, Harry.
Oh, well, like I said in the chat, hang up on Brian's lies, that last bit there.
But let me just say, Harry, the reason I wanted to address Brian is because of the topic, right? He was talking about South Africa, and I want our people, and specifically what Donald Trump is trying to do is get white people mad. Get white people to
Sure.
it touches a particular nerve, right? And I want my white brothers and sisters to realize, don't fall for the trope. The trope is there not to screw black folk or Latinos or whatever. That trope is to screw white people. But go ahead, brother.
Right. And the other thing is he wants these Afrikaners to come here because this country's running out of white people. But it was, caller Art and Brian defended Bard's lies on Lena Hidalgo. And I'm glad that you hung up on Bard's lies. We don't need right-wing nut job nonsense. If they're not willing to engage you in intelligent dialogue on politics done right, you can point it out, but you don't have to spend a lot of time trying to make their point. If they refuse to understand the truth and understand what you're telling them,
Harry, you're absolutely right. Since you're a regular and I see somebody that hadn't called before, I'm going to ask you to defer to later on this afternoon where we can talk a little bit more. But let me go to Franklin. But I appreciate you, Harry. You have a good one.
All right.
Come on in, Franklin. Franklin, you're on. You may be on mute. Franklin? All right, let's put Franklin on hold and go to Bard. Come on in, Bard.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on, Bard. Yes, you're on.
Yes, I know you're gonna cut me off and hang up on me, but
if you lie, I will. Yeah.
It's available for public record. The lady running the Harris County Toll Road Authority is making over $400,000. The lady running the flood control is making over $400,000 a year.
All right, cut him off. Let me tell you, folks. Let me tell you what I have. I have the document, and what I'll do for all of you, because the guy, the liar that just called, and yes, I'm calling one of my callers a liar. Okay, because I have the document that lists what these things are, and I made sure to do it because, again, there is a concerted effort out there to malign a young woman who is our county judge. So what I'll do right now, folks, is to put the definitive answer in the two chats so that everybody can see what happens. And I'm putting that there because that's what we do here. We don't tolerate the lies. I place them in both chats, so anybody who gets onto any one of our chats will actually see what the salary data looks like in Houston. And I want to give a big thank you to Raja M. Raja M, thank you so kindly for your support. We cannot do this without all of you. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 for Politics Done Right, at kpft.org. Please remember to tell them you're contributing for Politics Done Right. As well, when you call, do the same, or from the drag down menu. Let's see if Franklin is available right now. Franklin? Franklin, you're on. Are you on mute? We're going to wait for 10 more seconds. On mute, folks, please remember, as I wait for Franklin to go ahead and give us a call, 713-526-5738. All right, go ahead and let's go to, need to thank a big thank you to Cynthia. Cynthia, thank you so kindly for your support. Cynthia, thank you so kindly for your support. Let's drop it to Sandy. Okay, I think Sandy's there, right?
Yeah, we kept it. We all have to find the right thing to click before we can begin to talk.
Yeah.
One day, this is going to extend to your dinner table, and you'll be sitting there eating your dinner, and conversation will erupt, and you're going to have to take your fork and click the unmute button before you can begin to reply. I just see it coming. Technology, what are you going to do? Cynthia, Raj, and Mickey, you've gotten us off to a good start here on Politics Done Right this morning. In fact, one $5 a month pledge will put you over the goal for this morning of $500. Thank you to those listening and supporting. To those listening and not supporting, maybe never have supported, maybe you're thinking, somebody else will do it. Well, it doesn't work that way. In fact, it's up to all of us to do our part. Some of us cannot contribute. Do not give us your grocery money. Do not give us the money you need to pay your electric bill. But if you have a spare $5 every month, throw it our way. Call 713-526-5738 or go to our website, kpft.org, and at your leisure, click the donate button. And when it asks you, is it a one-time gift or a sustainer? Click sustainer, enter the $5 amount, and then the next page, you will see that you can click on a Tom Hartman ticket, for instance, as a thank you gift, or maybe a 55th anniversary lapel pin as a thank you gift. And that's it. The whole process is really quick, maybe a couple of minutes. And by doing this, well, the old First Amendment, free speech amendment, you're kind of guaranteeing that by keeping KPFT alive in Houston and having its 100,000 watts radiate over this city, I will tell you, the third largest city in the country. Some would argue with that, but the third largest city in the country, the most diverse city in the country. And we need KPFT as a bridge between all of us, from all the way up in Conroe to all the way down in Galveston, going east, going west. We cover a large area with a lot of people. And these airways, well, as they belong to all of us, as Egberto said. We are licensed with a community radio license, which means that we have to provide certain programming, and we do that very well at KPFT. Our quarterly FCC reports are actually a lot fatter than the other Pacifica stations because we have 3 grids, HD 1, 2, and 3. I want to thank everybody that came out yesterday and donated blood. I don't have a readout yet from the blood bank, but I will tell you it was awfully busy over there. So thank you for that kind act and potentially saving a life. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Give back to the station that provides for everyone here in H-Town. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Eric Hayes just went ahead and thought that he put some corroborating information
You're clear,
uh,
Sandy.
for Bard's lies that he came out with, and he came out with a Houston Chronicle list that showed 4 people have a, what is it called again? A total pay over 400,000. 3 people again over 400,000. Of course, Bard said Lina Hidalgo is paying 10 people, more than 10 people over $400,000. That's not true. The article that I placed in the chat stands. You cannot take information from bloggers that are disreputable. You cannot take information from a newspaper unless you understand how that newspaper aggregated its information. Total pay is not what you look at. And even with total pay, the information that Bard gave was absolutely incorrect. Please review the document that I placed in there again. That was an aggregate from all the other documents accumulated from what the actual pays are. Let me tell you, Eric, you guys can really try, but truth and math will always prevail. Truth and math will always prevail. I've got about this is KPFT Houston. Anyway, folks, listen, we have about 4 more minutes to go, 3.5 more minutes to go. Please give us a call. We're almost there. 713-526-5738. Again, the number is 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, or you can go to kpft.org. You know what? Nobody has taken up so far that I know of, at least. I have to check the records that I know of so far. Coffee with Egberto. You can ask Glenn if it isn't fun when we actually do it, right? It's really good. Eric, nope, there are 8. No, there is not at all, sir. All right. Anyway, so let's go ahead and give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension 1, or go to kpft.org. The last subject that I was supposed to cover this morning is Democratic voters choosing to fight corporate power over neoliberal abundance. I don't have the time to go through it entirely, but what I want to say is there's a book that was recently written that was trying to talk about the way we solve the problem. You know, the MAGA not receiving what they're due, which is the reason they've become MAGA, and other folks that didn't vote appropriately, etc., was because that we didn't have the abundance, and a lot of things that this book was speaking about. It is sad because what they're trying to do is to cover up for what I call a neoliberal economic system, and that is, it's not. Yeah, we want abundance, but the abundance is already there. The problem is that there are those who are taking a lot more than their share. There are those who are not doing their job. There are those who are just making on the backs of others. Okay? So again, uh, if you read the article in detail, I have it linked in the chat. You'll be able to see what we're talking about. I want to give another big thank you to JY. JY, thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly for your support, my dear brother. Thank you so kindly for your support. Anyway, we are at about 7:03 right now, so I'm going to do one last pitch. Give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Tell them it's for your support in politics and right, or go to our website, kpft.org, select that donate button, and after you select that donate button, choose your choice of gifts, and also select Politics Done Right as the program you are supporting. I want to thank Mayana for being in the studio. I want to thank Sandy for his great pitching. And of course, you know, we all love Jack Van Beber out here, who is here every morning to support the program. Again, folks, we cannot do this without you. Please, as we go off the air, please keep giving in the name of Politics Done Right. Love you all. Remember, the rest of the show is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
We now join Democracy Now!, already in progress.
Further violations of a ceasefire deal agreed to in November. On Thursday, an Israeli drone strike killed a municipal worker operating a water well near Lebanon's border with Israel. Separately, one person was killed by Israeli gunfire in the Lebanese border town of Kfar Kila. President Trump's newly named envoy to Syria raised the U.S. flag over the ambassador's residence in Damascus Thursday for the first time since its closure in 2012. Thomas Barrack's visit to the Syrian capital comes just weeks after Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, prompting the European Union to follow suit. Saudi Arabia's defense minister warned leaders of Iran last month they should accept President Trump's offer to negotiate a new nuclear agreement with the United States or face military action by Israel. That's according to Reuters, which reports Saudi Prince Khalid bin Salman personally delivered the message that Trump's team would want to reach a deal quickly, that the window